Guy Eagle here again. And the question is, how would I speak to the predator-prey system as it applies to those people that are afraid to go out in nature because of a bear attack, mountain lion attack, so forth. Well, for me, I'm safer out in nature than I am in the movie theater or walking down the streets of city, but that's me. But I know what's out there, and I have a relationship to it. I also know, this is going to sound kind of weird, but I know what I like to eat. And I know what I don't like to eat. Mountain lions do not like to eat people, I can guarantee you that. Snakes do not like to eat people. A lot of those fears are promoted through Hollywood, from the movies, from sensationalism. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Accidents happen. But there's a lot more people being killed by people than there are by nature in First Circle. It's just true, folks, and you want to look at the stats, you can find those everywhere. So they're myths, and it doesn't mean your fear is invalid. It just means that I think if you take the chance or baby steps to face it, you'll find that it's a lot easier than you think. So, yes, there's bears, there's animals that will attack to protect themselves, just like a mother two-legged will protect their child against a threat. You got to be conscious of being in their territory, in their home. So if they entered your home, you're going to protect it. They're going to protect it if you enter their home. You got to think like you're part of First Circle. And that's the big part of it. Is you got to think like you are part of that. So earlier, one of the videos I mentioned about walking and doing an exercise of being part of First Circle and going into a meadow, stand in the shadow of the trees and scan the meadow, see what's going on. You may see a mountain lion stalking a deer. You may see a bear on the other side of the meadow eating apples or berries. Go the other way. Ring a bell, let them know you're there. You gotta think like that. You can't think that you have an open license to go anywhere you can want. That's part of the myth. And that's a hard one to accept sometimes. And I'm not trying to make fun of you, I really am not. I'm just trying to say you have to approach it as you're going into their habitat. Respect it. Take your time. Snakes are going to do the same thing. They're very sensitive creatures. And if you hear them make a sound, you just make a sound back and go the other way. They won't strike unless they feel like they're threatened. So there's very few of them that are going to want to take on any kind of form that's bigger than them. And you got to just kind of remember that and think that. I know it's not easy though. You just have to practice in small doses until you get comfortable with it. Yeah.
Where do you think humans got the fact that we are apex predators or apex species? Where did that come from?
Apex meaning what?
The entitled place.
Wow, that's a tough one, you know? I remember being in a RV park in Moab and having it was owned by some people that were entirely Mormon, and we had some good discussions about how she felt that the earth was theirs, was made for them. I've heard it in the Christian paradigm of the book of Genesis. Talked about the Adam and Eve story, that earth was made for the dominion of man. Now, a good friend of mine just recently that studied a lot of theology as well told me that she had went back in some of the earlier Greek writings of the Bible and found out it didn't say dominion, it said love. That God had created the earth to teach love. Interesting difference. Some of that early imprinting, I'm sure it was part of my life, is part of what I had to open up. And I don't hold a resentment towards those religions. I just know I had to learn the truth for myself. Because that's what I like to do. I need to prove it to myself. There's just something about that kind of imprinting over time that has built up, that has given man permission to take hunting licenses out on deer, on elephants, on bears, to kill anything they feel needs to be killed. To be able to fish without permission, to take the dolphins, to take the whales. There's just to cut whatever tree they want. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on to take any, flight, to create all the carbon emissions that they want. It doesn't matter how the other species get along, it's just only about them. I don't know where that started, but I know there's cultures around the world that don't live that way. And they live in more of a harmony. My friends recently went to New Zealand and talked very highly of how the situation was over there with living in a co-creative way with first circle of nature. I hear about it sometimes with the Amazon tribes along the Amazon River. It's out there. It's just really hard to find these days. But where it started, I don't know. The way we're trying to reverse engineer the educational process is to put the humans back in part of the animal world as part of that system, instead of seeing them as separate and having different rules for them versus the other species. And so it's kind of a reverse engineering or reverse educating, and it's certainly a reverse and a reflective lifestyle, because you have to be on guard always of slipping into the old thinking. So it's not easy. It's not for the faint at heart, and yet it is. It's for them to grow stronger, and more whole. So I don't have a good answer. I have a lot of good excuses of what I've looked at, of what it is, but I don't have a good answer how it started. Anyway, must be something to it. Oh. I'm enjoying that part, by the way.